Hello and welcome to another episode of French Ear Trumpet. I'm Andy from AJ in France, and I'm joined as usual by Colin from French Countryside Life. And normally we get together once a week or once every 2 weeks to discuss anything we find interesting. And the last episode, we interviewed one of our favourite authors who wrote the book, The Tenth the Bucket of Me, Emma Kennedy. It was a fantastic episode. Really enjoyed that. Yeah. Always have loving guests on, but this week it's just us. So
it's just us. We've got a wide variety of things just to talk about. So the format this week, I've just got a few questions to ask Andy, which hopefully should be of interest to you guys. And also, I've just got some news. Not from me, but from things that are going on in France that may have an impact on, the things that you might want to be doing or so on. So first question, Andy.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead soon and purchase the solar panels, from a company called Allo.
Yep.
They're like a plug and play, aren't they?
Allo Solar, yeah.
Allo Solar, yeah. So they're plug and play, from what I understand. I was reading the installation manual just so I got an idea what I'm doing, and it says on there, and obviously I had to translate it as well. So I'm sure it said on there that you can plug it in, but it has to be plugged into a dedicated socket.
Yeah.
So does that mean that I'm going to have to run a new power line through to wherever the solar panels are going to be? So that will go from the solar panels plugged into that socket down that dedicated line to the circuit board.
So good question, actually, really good question. And it makes sense in what they're saying. So it all depends on the size of the system you're buying. So if you're going to buy one that will go up to 3,000 watts, which is theoretically your limit you can export without telling anybody Enedis or EDF or anything, you can just plug in up to 3,000 watts and it won't be any problems. But 3,000 watts is close to the limit of a 16 amp breaker in your fuse board. So the reason that they say that is if you've got anything else on that circuit that takes power or I don't know, uses power or anything like that, it could trip the fuse. So they often say, look, can you put in a separate piece of wire, a breaker, some wire and a socket to put the solar panel in, mainly to cover their own company, because they want to make sure that everything is done properly. They don't want any fires or any problems with up to the maximum of that. But in my mind, if you have a socket that is running 2.5 mil cable, even if there's other things on that which consume electricity, it doesn't really matter, because it won't add to the draw at all. It will actually take away from the maximum draw on the breaker. So if it's a fairly modern installation, you could probably plug that into any outdoor socket and it will be fine, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. So the one that I've been looking at, I think it's 2,000 watts. It's not the smaller one, but it's the second one. So I think is it 4 panels or 6?
Yeah.
Can't remember whether it's because the smallest one is 2 panels, I think.
Yeah. And
the next one up, it's about €1,000.
Yeah.
1,200 euros, something like that. Yeah. So I think it's around about 2,000 watts.
Yeah. So the reason they say dedicated is sometimes the sockets are running 1.5 mil cable. If it's just for one socket, and that might not be sufficient for the full output of the panels. So they want to run a dedicated cable, dedicated socket. That's the best way of doing it. But if you have a relatively modern installation with 2.5mm cable, a good socket, it doesn't matter what drawer you've got on there or any other appliances, because that'll just be cancelled out by the panels. But they just need to be in 2.5mm cable and just one set of panels on one socket, and that's it. And the maximum you can get away with is up to 3,000 watts before you have to tell Enedis that you're exporting to the grid.
Right. Well, thanks for that information.
That's right.
So next thing, so I've picked up a job, really interesting. So I got a phone call from this French lady. She said, could you come and have a look at my kitchen? And I couldn't get her to explain to me so I could understand what she wanted me to do. So I went there at the appropriate time, and it's down this little lane in the middle of this forest. I didn't even know there was a house there.
I like that stuff.
Yeah, and so followed the lane down, and there's a big set of gates. So I pressed the intercom, and the gates opened. It's a massive house there, and with stables to the left, big stables, and it's probably 8 or 10 paddocks off into the distance. Didn't even know all this stuff was there. So just turn my phone on. Anyway, so this lady came out, very elegant French lady in her probably late 70s, I would guess.
Right.
She came out, and she spoke a bit of English. I spoke a bit of French, and between us, she told me that she'd lived there for 40 years.
Wow.
She'd lived there for 40 years. She bred miniature horses. I mean, you can make your own jokes up about that one. But yeah, she said she bred these horses. She's been in this house 40 years, and the owner of the house wants to. So she'd rented this house for 40 years.
Oh, right. So she didn't own the house.
No. So the owner of the house now wants to sell the house. Right. But in those 40 years, in those intervening 40 years, this lady's put in stable. She put a big extension on the house that's got a massive kitchen in it. And there's a second kitchen almost in the hallway that goes through into this big extension. So there's like an empty kitchen and then a massive handmade kitchen.
Yeah.
And she said that she's already bought this other farm. She said, but she doesn't really like it, but it's got the land. And yeah, she basically wants all this kitchen stripped out, right, so it can be used again.
Right.
So for me, I think the way that I'll do it, or that I'm thinking about doing it, is just take my time with it, see how it's put together, and then just deconstruct it. But it will be all the but basically, she just wants to leave a shell.
Right. Let me just. This is something interesting, which I never realized until I came to France, more or less permanently. And my brother, when he moved here, he rented an apartment in Rennes. So it's quite modern apartment, and all white and with wood floors and all that business.
Yeah.
And invited us all around. Me, my dad, my mum, everyone went round, and he was there with his wife. And I said to him, "You ain't got no kitchen," and there was literally no kitchen.
Yeah.
I said, "This is a bit weird, but what's going on?" He said, "Well, actually, it's not a given that you're gonna end up inheriting the kitchen when you rent a place. There's literally nothing in it. You have to provide your own kitchen, not just the white goods, but everything. Which probably explains why your client wants to déménage, move all the kitchen, because it's just not a done thing, really."
From the way she spoke, she's feeling really sore about it. That
she wants to sell it after 40 years.
She's invested all this money in the place, which was crazy, really.
Yeah.
It was a bit sad in a way, really, because she said that her husband's, a few years older than her, so he's quite elderly, or very elderly, really, and he's not well. And she said we was just hoping we was going to end our days here.
Really?
Yeah, and
that's the strangest setup I've ever heard.
Yeah, 40 years.
Wow.
Of renting.
Crazy.
And it's a big house. It's a big house. It's probably, how can I put it? Probably twice the size of this house, and we've been here, so you know how big this is. So it's probably twice the size of this house.
Yeah, the difficulty with the kitchens is they never come out and go back together in the.
Of course not. No, of course not. So I had a quick look, and it appears to be handmade. Oh. There's no backs to any of the units, so you can see the wall through the cupboard.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be an easy job.
It's not going to be too difficult, to be honest. Remove the plumbing and the electrics first.
Yeah.
And then once that's done, start at the top and work your way down.
Yeah.
So you disconnect, take out the sink, the hob, if there is any, and that kind of stuff. Remove the appliances, then remove the worktop. So you're basically doing it in reverse of how you put it in.
Yeah. That's what that was my.
Once you get the worktop off, everything will become much more apparent.
Yeah.
To do that, you need to disconnect all the appliances. So the first thing is remove the electric and the plumbing, and then go from there.
Brilliant. All right, so that's that one. Last question. This is completely off topic here. So there's a guy called Freddie Dobbs who's got a motorbike channel. Now, I don't ride motorbikes. I've never ridden motorbikes, and because I'd kill myself in 10 minutes.
It's possible.
Yeah. So, but I like the way that he makes YouTube videos, and it's interesting stuff that he does. And he happened to mention something. It just stuck in my head, and I looked at it, and I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. So he was talking about within the motorcycling world, the attitude towards BMW GS riders.
Yeah.
So is that something that you've heard of, or?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it depends. Depends who they are, but yeah. Well, go on. What did he say?
Basically saying that the stereotypical BMW GS rider would saunter over to a bunch of other bikers and go, yeah, let's just have a look what you got. Not interested. I've got a BMW GS. Yeah, fantastic bit of machinery, really expensive, and I'm obviously better than you. So
it's interesting. That does come across. I guess it depends on why you bought the vehicle in the first place. They tend to be. I don't know if you've heard the term "born again" bikers.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So people who have had bikes when they were younger, maybe an old, I don't know, 250, maybe a two-stroke even, something like that, and then they've given it up, and then when they've got to sort of mid-40s, something like that, then they thought, you know what, I've got a bit of disposable income, I'm going to buy a bike. So they think, well, what do I fancy myself as? And the thing about the BMW GS, I fell in love with it. Well, not fell in love with it. I bought it because, yeah, cheers. Anyway, so I watched the series, Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman.
Just brilliant. Loved it. There's a new one.
There is.
Any day now, isn't there?
So they did an original one. They called it Long Way Round.
Long Way Round, that's it, yeah.
Which was easily the best out of all of them.
Right.
And they leave London and they try to drive the circumference of the Earth.
Yeah.
and they pretty much succeed. And it is a really, really good series to watch. If you're into motorcycles or adventure or just want to see what they're up to, it's brilliant.
It is brilliant, yeah.
And then they did a second one, which is Long Way Down. So they go from John O'Groats, I think, all the way down to Cape Town. And they pass through Africa, and they just whinge a bucket load like posh people do. It's not like the first one at all. They're just literally moaning all the time. And then they did a third one, which is from the tip of Chile or Argentina, or right down at the bottom of South America, all the way up to North America. And they did it on electric bikes.
I saw that one, yeah.
And I wouldn't even bother watching that one. It's terrible. So this one is supposed to be a return to, is it classic bikes or renovated bikes or something? I don't know, but
yeah, I'm not sure. I saw the
they're
trailer.
doing another one. But anyone who likes bikes, watch the first one. Now, getting back to what you said, that they did it on the 1150 GSs, and they ran into all sorts. They threw those bikes into rivers, down mountains, the lot.
I think they're a fantastic looking bike, personally. I really like the look of them.
Yeah, and
you know,
they kept going and going and going. And it's funny when you see the beginning of the series, they wanted to originally use a brand called KTM.
I know, yeah, KTM.
And which has gone bust, by the way, is no longer existent. Which is bizarre because they're one of the best off-road bikes we'd ever used. Anyway, so the guys from KTM came and said, it's not possible. What you want to do is not possible. We're not going to do it. So they went, and it was really a bit of a down point in the series. And then they went, actually, we've got a sponsorship from BMW. And BMW just threw as much money as they could at it to make sure that it worked. And obviously it did work. So, but to see them use that bike, and that bike was pushed through everything. And I just like that aspect of it. It's the kind of person who would like to buy a Land Rover would like to buy that bike.
Yes.
It's not fast. It's not economical.
It's about 110.
It's not even it's not even super comfortable, but it is just a utility bike, like I don't know, it's built for adventures. But 90%, 99% of the people who buy Land Rovers, who buy GSs, will just drive them on the road, like me. I mean, I just drive mine on the road.
Yeah.
So but they are just nice bikes as well, and they do ride really well.
This Freddie Dobbs, he's just done like a mini series on his channel. He rides like an older Triumph Bonneville, and he went from London to Sardinia for £200.
Yeah.
That's his fuel, his food. So he was wild camping by the side of the road. There's one bit, right? Obviously, he's not on the toll roads. There's one bit he's found himself at this rest area in France, and he's got his bike and he's got his little one-man tent set up, and he says, "Yes, got everything I need here." He said, "I've got a coffee shop over there." He said, "I've got the loos there," and he said, "Downside, there's human faces over here, but as long as I don't step that side, I'll be fine."
Oh my God.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, interesting, because my best bike was my Honda. So I bought a Honda VFR 800, and it was the Mark II, I guess. Yeah, no, I don't know, but it was the first fuel injected one, 1996 model. And that thing was bulletproof.
Right.
Honda. They used to change this is quite funny. They used to change the oil in the bikes at work, which were 650 GSs. Used to change them all the time, whether they need it or not. Some would rest just in the garage for ages, and then they'd get the oil change, and it's not been turned for more than. So I just used to siphon the oil out and put it in my bike when I knew the next oil change was coming, because I was just going to throw it away. So that bike was run on secondhand oil, everything. And then my mate goes, "Oh, do you want to go and do a tour of Western Europe?" I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." I didn't even check the tire pressures back then. So there was me and my girlfriend at the time, and the most luggage you've ever seen in the entire universe on the back. So much so, when we were on a hill going up to the Eagle's Nest in Germany,
Yeah.
I couldn't put the girlfriend on the back because the bike actually lifted up. That's how much luggage it was. I had to go somewhere flat before she could jump on the back.
Right.
And she wasn't big at all. She was tiny. So that's how much weight it was carrying. And it just went and went and went. It would always start. It would never break down. At 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, I was going into central London and it was hammering down with rain. No problem. Get on it. Heated grip, straight into London, down the A1. And it would just continue. It was just the best bike I've ever ridden for something like that. Super reliable. And I sold it.
There you go.
I'm kicking myself. Like you and your golf, sorry, it was a golf, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah.
R32.
R32, yeah. I don't want to talk about it.
No, I don't want to talk about it. And the worst thing is, I was at work probably yesterday, the day before, and one of the other guys that works there pulls in, no joke, on a 1996 VFR 800 mint condition.
Oh, mate. Does he want to sell it?
He parks it there, and I said, don't leave the keys in it.
Yeah. I steal it.
I steal this. I often think, should I get one just to, I mean, everyone has that thought, don't you? You know, when you have a car you really love, or you just want to, I know it's exactly what happened with my dad when he retired out here. He was like, he traced his old car that he had to sell for his first divorce, a Daimler Dart SB2, and contacted the current owner.
Yeah.
And said, look, name your price. And he went,
I made a terrible mistake.
I'm not selling.
Yeah.
But it was the exact car, and it was number, I don't know, 2 off the production line or something of that model. He was gutted. Well, he bought one anyway, but it just wasn't that particular one. But yeah, I can understand that, you know, a vehicle you really love from your past that you really want to get to, which is getting back to the GS thing, born again bikers, when they're thinking about what they used to do when they were motorbiking when they were younger. It's a manifestation of that, because they got loads of money, disposable income, and they think, right, what's the best bike? Well, I keep seeing this everywhere on these series and all that. It's got to be a GS.
What could possibly go wrong there?
Plus, also, they're normally a gentleman of a certain weight, and the GS can carry a lot of weight.
It's unfair. So
there you go.
Anyway, moving swiftly on. So news. News.
Go on, hit me.
So no tears fees are going up from 4.5% to 5%.
Wow.
So that will mean an extra €500 for every 100,000 euros spent. So €200,000 property, obviously. That's another €1,000 you've got to find.
That's interesting,
yeah. So there's that one. Going back to what you were saying at the beginning about the solar panels and that, the rates for selling back electricity to grid going down 60%. From 0.127 per kilowatt hour to 0.04. So it's a lot.
Can I just spend a little bit of time on that, because it's my job?
Yeah, go
on. That has had a massive effect on the solar panel.
Since I read that, that's exactly what I thought. I thought this is gonna it seems counterintuitive for the French government to do that.
So yeah, this is really, and it's more complicated than that as well. But it doesn't affect commercial tariff. They call it tariff zone, which is like your big solar farms or your big farms with solar panels. It doesn't affect that. It only affects normal day-to-day residential users, and no one knows why they've done it. But it's really counterintuitive production. But the problem is now they've got too much solar, apparently.
Right.
So yeah, it caused a big problem, and people are going to lose their jobs over that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Already, we know of companies around us that just do the smaller installations of residentials, laying people off because they can't. They will not get the business. It's just not profitable, or not even can't even break it even to sell it back at that small amount.
No.
They also think that this is a push from the government to push for home storage and batteries.
That's exactly what they said. Well, actually, the next bit of news was exactly related to that. In that, as you say, they're going to push that you store your electricity yourself rather than put it back into the grid.
Yep.
Yeah. So the next bit of news is energy experts predict VAT on energy subscriptions to rise from 5.5% to 20%.
Yep.
By August 2025.
Yep.
Which is, it's 4 times the amount of VAT.
Yep, that's probably going to happen. Probably there is a big change in the VAT. I don't know how much I can say, but at work, if you signed a DEVI before February this year, you're all right. But there is an actual vote that's going on that hasn't been done yet. I don't think it's going to be in June or July on whether this all comes to fruition or not. And it will affect everything between February and October this year. And the VAT rates will vary dramatically. But it's like if, all right, so if I have a battery and a solar panel and I sell the battery with the solar panel to fit on someone's house, the VAT is 5.5%. If I sell the battery to someone else, it's 20%.
Right.
So it's a really strange, very complicated scenario. Yeah.
So next bit of news, UK passport renewals abroad. So in my case, my passport's going to need renewing shortly. So it's gone up to £108, not euros.
Wow.
For
88 or something, 80.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was before, but it's gone up to £108 for adults and £70 for children.
That's bloody ridiculous.
So that's going to be what, £108? What's that? It's about €125, I guess. Yeah. So that's not ideal, but I think they're just, the government's just trying to claw back money wherever they can.
Yeah, probably.
Another interesting thing. Facial recognition is being trialled at UK ports. So, and they're talking about rolling it out to, to other means of transport, airports, stations, so on. So, facial recognition
to what end? How would that
end? To be entirely digital. So you won't need to show your passport. You'll still have to have your passport with you.
Okay, all right. So to try and make things quicker and easier.
Yeah, so basically, what they're looking to do is, when you enter the country, through whatever means, you walk through a channel, and if it recognises you from your passport picture to your face, facial recognition, you can just carry on. But you must have your passport with you in case there's an issue, it doesn't recognise you've changed, got beard or whatever. Then you'll get separated some way, and your passport will be manually checked. But it's when I first watched Minority Report, the Tom Cruise movie set in the future.
Yeah, okay. Where he walks through the
it walks. Yeah, I mean that's more based on retinal scan, isn't it? But which I think they tried to do that at Heathrow, didn't they, for a while, retinal scans, and it didn't really work so well. But yeah, as I say, when I first saw that movie, I thought this stuff's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's actually no different in the data that they record on pictures of you than they've got now. You know, when you come up to the gate, well, let's say, for example, you go for the automatic passport gate, they obviously take a picture of you there anyway. But if you go to the manual passport gate, have you ever seen it? There's a camera there anyway. It always takes your picture.
Yeah,
so every time you put your passport in, it takes a picture at the same time as the passport marries the picture to your passport. That already happens anyway. So it's no real difference to that. The only difference is it will allow a lot more false identifications through, because it's not 100%. So people are going to be able to slip through without putting their passport in. That's the bit that concerns me, not data privacy or anything, because it's no more than what is normally done now. But the room for error, and knowing the UK and any large IT infrastructure projects, they don't work.
Yeah.
And they cost billions of pounds and they don't work.
Maybe they can get the post office to do it now.
Yeah, exactly. We'd all be in jail.
That'd be all right. Nothing would go wrong there.
Jesus. I don't know why they spend the money on stupid stuff like that when there's so many more things they could be doing.
Yeah. So, next bit of news, there's a massive rise in tree theft. Did you know? So apparently,
right, talk me through this one.
Yeah, so there's you know, the vast majority of forestry land in France is privately owned.
Okay.
So apparently there'll be a bunch of urbans who turn up, you know, with a big truck and some big chainsaws, chop down a load of trees, steal them, and they've been found being loaded onto boats to go to China. So
they're stealing it for wood, not because they want to replant it somewhere else.
No. They're chopping down the tree, and the problem is the way that they're being chopped down, and you know the way that they're doing it means that land can't be replanted with trees.
Yeah.
You know, without a vast amount of work that's not going to be worth it. So they're destroying. You know, these criminals are destroying woodland. You know, in a non what's the word?
Ecologically friendly, I guess.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of a tangent, but we're known for this anyway. So I was reading a book, and it's called Bad Men, or Really Bad Men.
Right.
And it's about all the evil people in the world,
right?
Evil regimes.
Yep.
And there's actually a dedicated. This is true. A dedicated charity, which exposes all the bad dealings of all the despots, regimes, you know, like child soldiers and all that, you know, everything. And it's written by the guy who runs the charity and how it started and how he got involved in it. And it's fascinating.
Yeah.
But 90% of the massive criminal enterprises is all around forestry and timber.
Oh, really? So there you go.
And it includes exposing companies in France, actually, it was a big one, that buying illegal timber and financing these regimes. And this is how most of these regimes make their income, like Thailand, Cambodia, all around there, that area. They went undercover to expose the illegal logging, which was financing, you know, most of the regimes over there. Fascinating book, but it's all based around timber. And this just, they've been shutting it down, and all the regulations have been augmented, and it's becoming harder to find the timber. So they just go and cut it down and send it on a boat.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what's happening in France now, apparently.
Yeah, well, it doesn't surprise me. Because it's at the bottom of all evil empires is timber. I couldn't believe it when I read the book. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I thought it would be something else,
Who knows?
guns or drugs or no,
Yeah.
timber. There you go.
So next bit of news.
Yep.
So France Identité is an app, I guess you call it. Yeah, it's an app that French citizens, can use to store their documents, like official documents. You can have your digital driving license on there. You can have your carte vitale on there, which is your health card, and residency. Obviously, they wouldn't have residency, but all your official documents can be held on this app, and which then means it's easier to pass the information on. You can upload documents on it and all sorts. Until recently, or up to this point, it's been only for French citizens.
Yep.
There's a plan for it shortly to be extended to those foreigners that have got 10-year residencies.
Brilliant. That's a good idea.
Yeah, so that is going to happen. It's been voted on, and that is going to happen. So those with a 10-year residency and above, obviously, or I'm not sure above a 10-year. Anyway, permanent residency.
Yeah, I would think so. After 10, it's permanent.
Yeah. So shortly, they're going to be able to do that.
That's really good, actually. And this was one of the differences I found coming to France and England. So you remember when I was at yours, I cut my leg.
Yeah.
And we went there for the tetanus.
I think it's his house, you know.
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
His house.
Went down the old A&E for the old tetanus jab.
Yeah.
But the first thing they said was, "Where's your or do you have, or can you get your inoculation certificates?" Yeah, exactly. We're English. We don't do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they were like, "What do you mean?" I said, "No, we don't really have a log of, that's far too sensible. We're not going to do anything like that."
Yeah.
So anyway, long and short, it says, "Well, we can test you for it, see if you've got the antibodies." And I didn't, because it's been a million years since I had one. So she's got the big needle out, and I was, bend over. Oh. Anyway, so that was done.
It's calling Fat and Whitbread to go and do it for you.
At the end, I get a little card with everything printed on it, and all that information is then logged onto my carte vitale and all that business.
Brilliant.
So if I have another tire-related injury, like I said, "Oh, don't worry, I don't need that, because look, this is when the last time I had it was," and I keep it in my wallet just because it's easy.
Yeah.
So it's so sensible.
It'll be the same with the France Identité app.
So for expats who live here, that would be really good if you can store your carte séjour and stuff like that, because if your wallet gets stolen and you don't have your carte séjour, it's an absolute nightmare to get another one.
Yeah. But there is an app that I use. It's through La Poste, which is the state-run post office. And you can prove your identity online with that. So I think it's something called France Connect, isn't it?
Yes, that's possible. Yeah, if you have a social security number and a tax number, you can do that on there as well. Yeah.
But so this France Identité, I think that's like not replacing France Connect, but it's going to be like a souped-up version of it, I think. Oh,
brilliant! Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
You got any more news?
So that's the news.
I've got another bit of news.
Go on.
This year is the first year that they won't send out paper tax forms.
Well, I've got mine through the post.
Unless you opt for it specifically.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So I didn't receive one. And the reason I didn't receive one is because last year I submitted mine online.
Oh, okay.
So if last year you did yours online, you will receive this year's online as well, no matter what your options are. But if you submitted last year's on paper, you'll still receive this year's on paper. But if last year, like I did, I received the paper one, but went online and filled it in online, the paper version, this year you don't get sent the paper version.
Okay.
So that is some news there for you as well.
Sure. All right. So that's all the news.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I've got a joke, right?
Go on, hit me with a joke, and I'll do some more serious after that then.
So Nigel gets a job to transport and deliver this bunch of monkeys to the zoo.
Right.
So he's on the way to the zoo in his van. He's got the monkeys in the back of the van, and all of a sudden, his van starts juddering. He pulls out. The van's broken down. He thinks, "Oh, what are we gonna do? There's monkeys to deliver." Anyway, gets out of the van and he's looking up the road and sees a van coming towards him, and he recognises the driver. It's Patrick. So he waves his hands, pulls him over, and Patrick jumps out and he says to him, "Can you do us a favour, mate?" He said, "I'll give you 50 quid. Can you take these monkeys to the zoo for me?" He says, "Yeah, I can do that." So he puts the monkeys into the back of Patrick's van and gives him the 50 quid, and he turns the van around and goes off. Anyway, 2 hours later, he's still waiting by the side of the road for the recovery truck. Sees Patrick coming towards him in the van. So what's he doing? Anyway, waves his hands, pulls him over, and Patrick winds his window down. He says, "I thought I paid you 50 quid to take the monkeys to the zoo." He said, "Yeah, we've been to the zoo. I've got some money left over, so we're going to the cinema now."
Classic. Oh dear, that's bad. Anyway, something more serious.
More serious.
But very boring. Car insurance.
Yeah.
So, I think we might mention this, and it's a possible guest for this channel as well. So, I recently had a car insurance renewal for my car, which I originally brought from England. Changed the registration to.
This is the Ranger, is it?
Yeah, to French, and I just kept with the same insurer that issued me with my temporary certificate while I was doing the work, the changeover. Anyway, so what's been happening is each year it's been going up and up and up, and I've been too scared to do anything about it because I can't speak French very well, and I don't really want to rock the boat kind of thing, and I just want to get rid of it.
It's easy, isn't it? It's easy just to leave it.
This year, though, each year it's been like 350, then 400, 450, and now it's 550. And I'm like, it's got to that limit where you think, you know what, I'm going to have to do something about this. So I actually have a contact called Vanessa, and she works for Generali Insurance. And she did my mutual before I got a job. And I can't tell you enough how that was the same mutual I used when I went to the hospital with you. And I didn't even have to do anything. They did no quibbles, nothing, spot on. And you don't have to do anything with them. They're really good. So when I got the new job, I had to cancel that because I get one with the job anyway. So I thought about her and I thought, do you know what? She was really good. And she speaks perfect English as well. And she's such a bubbly, lovely lady. Thought, do you know what? I'll give her a call and get this all sorted out. So I rang her, and the same day, she's like, all right, I've just run it through the system. With what mileage you do and the age of the car, do you want breakdown assistance? All that business, 250. So that's 300 euros cheaper than that. So I was like, yeah, sign me up, obviously.
Yeah.
And within, I reckon, about an hour of putting the phone down, I had the contract in, done, signed, all sorted. And they even sent a letter to my previous insurers to say cancel.
Yeah.
They were the service is spot on. So I'm going to put a link in the description for Vanessa at Generali Insurance. Speaks perfect English, so anybody who needs any insurance for anything, houses, cars, mutuals, she'll assess everything and get you the best deal possible. So definitely give her a call, because that was just a lifesaver, really. That's 300 euros I can spend on something else.
There you go. You spend that on your BMW GS.
It hasn't moved at all. Hasn't moved at all since last year.
Yeah.
It is the season, but yeah, I guess. Yeah, we should get out on it, really.
It's probably like riding a bike, isn't it?
I'm not even going to dignify that with an answer. So, question for you.
Go on, go ahead.
House hunting at the moment.
Yep.
Are you restricting your searches to like Leggetts, Green Acres, or anybody that speaks English, or are you actually actively looking at local estate agents to find houses?
Local estate agents. The house that we looked at that was a village school.
Oh, this is the one you covered in your latest video.
Yeah.
That smells of rats. Or...
Yeah, rats. Yeah, it's terrible.
Lovely.
Actually, that was a little plug there, wasn't it, for my latest video? Did you know I got a latest video? Yeah, so that was through a local agent. Although, in all fairness, we did find it through Green Acres. So
what would you say is the best overall website to look for properties?
Yeah, the big player is obviously Leggetts, closely followed by Beauvillage, I think, and then Green Acres. The other, what's the word? The other website is obviously Rightmove Overseas.
Right.
I have all of those, but you can't. I don't think you can really beat having to wander around the shops.
That's all right if you live here.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Otherwise, so the reason I ask is, so where I work, my boss's son, he has just bought a house,
right.
And I said, well, you know, it's actually probably about half a mile from me. I said, how did you find this house? And he said, well, I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. And I said, so it wasn't on with an estate agent? He went, no. So immediately you save your, I don't know, what is it, 10%?
8%, yeah.
8%, anywhere between 8 and 10%, straight away.
Yeah. And
he said, yeah, most of that's how, if you're moving or buying locally, you'll just do it by, if you know something's available, or through a friend or a family member. He said, but all costs, try and avoid ones in an estate agent because of the fees. So that's interesting. If you find an area that you go back to every year for a holiday, for example, you just think, you know, one day I'm gonna buy a retirement home here. Just get talking to the local in the bar or wherever. Guarantee someone somewhere is selling something. Yeah, that's how you find it. And I think that's the best way to do it if you can. But you've got to spend the time there. That's the problem. If you're miles away, that's not going to help you.
That's right. It does seem to be a rule, though, that whatever house that you're looking at on the estate agent website, if it looks lovely from the outside, it's going to be the 1970s called "They Want Their Kitchen Back," and then if it doesn't look much from the outside, it's going to be lovely on the inside. There's two properties that we've got on our shortlist. One's two houses,
Oh, right. You're
Yeah,
moving up in the world, are you?
well, once,
One for you, one for Jane.
I've got a stable out the back. Yeah, so once two houses, from the outside, you would think, it's just doesn't look much at all. But on the inside, it looks just fantastic. We've obviously spent all the money on the inside.
Interesting.
Mm.
Are you tempted by that one, or?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. But
so on that same vein, what are you doing with yours? Are you putting it on with an agent? And if so, which agent are you going to put on with?
we'll put it on with an agent. We haven't decided which, but it'll probably be either Leggetts or Beauvillage.
See, interesting. When I was looking for, not for this house, but my other house, I was looking through Leggetts, and that's it, ultimately where I found it. But I'll tell you how, a little tip there as well. But I never looked at Beauvillage. Never. Didn't even know it existed.
Mm.
But Green Acres I did, but I didn't find anything suitable. But I didn't know about Beauvillage.
Mm.
There was another one actually, AJP, is it? Have you seen them?
Right.
They seem to have a lot, and in fact, they've got a house on down the road here. Maybe it's just northern France, but AJP, and it seems to be catered more for the Anglophone, like Leggett as well. But with Leggetts, because they are done through it's almost like a franchise, but I'm not sure if it is. But do you know what I mean? Like the agents.
The agents, yeah. So we had an agent who sold their house up in Normandy for us.
It was brilliant, wasn't
it? Yeah, Ben Green. Who sadly passed away just shortly after. Yeah, we did pay him first. But anyway. But edit that bit out. But yeah, really brilliant estate agent. Knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
Did all the financials on the people, so there was no tire kickers.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it was really good, and sold our house in 7 weeks.
Yeah,
which is unreal.
My little tip was, so I went to view loads when I was looking at my second home, and I didn't really know what I wanted, but I knew I would know when I saw it. Does that make sense?
Not at all.
Right. So I looked at some properties, and I went to this one down. There was one I really wanted, and they wouldn't respond to me, and then it got sold and whatever. And then I went to this other one down in the south near Bordeaux or Bergerac. It was somewhere, I don't know, down there. And the place was an absolute dump. And you looked at the back of you opened the kitchen window, and it was the yard where the post office was behind, and they parked all their vans. I was like, what? You want it was only a tiny house. You want 180 grand for this gaff? I mean, I was like, and the agent said it. Yeah, but you get to say you live in, and then I can't remember the name of the place, but it was some place where you're supposed to live. And as soon as she said that, I knew I don't want to live there. I do not want to live in a place where people go there because that's where they want to live. So anyway, got rid of that. And then I found this brilliant estate agent in Deux Sevres called Tamasin. I'll try and put a link in the description if I remember. Yeah. And she was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an idea of what well above what I would expect from a estate agent. So we met in the town square as is usual, and bonjour and all that. And the first thing she did was give me a load of information of all the stuff you can do in that area, all the tourist attractions, all the stuff, farmers markets, everything, all the information. This is like within 2 minutes of meeting her. Yeah. Said you can keep that. That's all the information of everything around here.
That's really good.
And I was like, wow, okay, I'll watch that. And anyway, so we looked at, there was 3 properties she had in the area, and I looked at all 3, and I was like, it just doesn't float my boat. And she said, come with me and we'll go for a walk around the chateau, which is in the middle. Yeah, so we then went for a walk around the chateau, and she said, well, the only other thing I've got is a really weird property, but I don't think you'll be interested. I said, look, you said weird, so I've just got to see it.
I mean,
and so we went to see it, and I said, do you know what? That's right up my street. I'll get back to you. And I bought it in the end. But she was like the best estate agent I've ever seen in action, and she's obviously had a lot of sales training, because I can recognize some of the things she did from my sales training when I worked for my dad. And one of them is, as soon as the client or the customer starts talking, you shut up, because there's nothing you can say that's of any interest to them whatsoever unless they ask you a question. So when they're talking, you're learning more information. And every time I said something, she immediately shut up. She knew the score. She was really effective and really good. And after I'd bought the property as well, she rang me, and this must have been, she came with me to do all the notaire stuff and everything like that. She made sure everything went right. And then on the day that I got the house, I went there, and she called me up and she said, I don't think there's any water connected. I'll sort it out for you. I mean, that's like going above and beyond. I said, don't worry about it. That's something I can definitely do myself. So I went out in the street and turned the water on and did all the business and that. But yeah, she was, any questions I have, anything that I needed to do or speak to the old owners about, she was on it within 5 days. Everything was done, and it was just like a super easy purchase. To anybody looking around that area of Deux Sevres, it's so easy to buy from. And during the buying process, anytime I'd email or ask her a question, she'd call me back straight away. Hi, how are you? And even when I went down there to get to the house, and she said, I'll just drop in, because she lives nearby with her husband and dog Roy at the time, Jack Russell. And just going there for a coffee, if we had an appointment with a notaire, just stop there first. And everything was super simple. So I can't recommend her enough. So I'll put that, if I can find a link to her portfolio, you see all her properties for sale, I'll put that in there as well. So
there is a house that we really, really like. I'm not going to tell you where it is, but
is it in Brittany?
It's not.
Oh, that's a shame.
To
go then.
And we can't believe that it's not been sold. But
so what does that tell you?
It's with quite an obscure agent. It's an exclusive with that agent, and the agent's quite obscure, and we sort of stumbled across it. But it's a fantastic. So we just got fingers crossed that no one's going to find it, and we're going to go look at it and buy it, hopefully.
You can tell me.
Well, I will do. In fact, I think I sent it to you.
And not all these 300 subscribers that we've got, though, obviously.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I sent it to you.
So anyway, while he's doing that, because we're coming to the end of this episode, thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah.
We've got a good subject for an upcoming one in our minds, but we've also got possibly 2 good guests that we'd like to get on. One is confirmed they're going to come on, but we don't know when, which is an architect who's English speaking, but works in France and has done for over 20 years. And he is going to give some advice on what needs full planning permission, what you can do with a déclaration préalable, and what you can do with nothing, and how to approach stuff, and when do you actually need an architect and when not. So that's going to be super interesting.
Yeah, no, that'd be really interesting.
And also the costs and prices of stuff as well. So that should be interesting for everyone. And the second one is not confirmed yet, but it might be insurance as well, which will be super interesting.
Yeah,
because it seems to me like everything revolves around the admin industry in France. You could definitely spend your whole life going in circles around it. So,
Well, you've got a theory about that, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I've said that often enough, but it's true. It's true. You can't. There's in any particular department or industry or whatever you want to do, there's one guy or girl, one person who can solve your problem, and then around that is a barrage of admin assistants who answer the phone, and their job is to deflect you away from this person in the middle who can solve your problem however best they can. And if you actually manage to get to that person in the middle, your problem will be solved within 5 minutes. And I've experienced this a lot. The second you get to that guy in the middle, it's done. But you just can't get there. It's so hard. It's really difficult. There we go. Another question for you before we go. Have you opened the pool?
No, not yet.
Got to do it by the end of the month.
It'll be opening soon, don't worry.
That's for sure.
Fear not. I haven't opened the episode either.
We could do. Yeah, well, that sounds like it could. Yeah. That's a match made in heaven, that one.
Yeah. Once again, what could possibly go wrong there?
I want to do a quick shout out to Les, one of our subscribers. He literally just sent us a message.
Right.
So I just said that to him. I'll give a shout out to Les. You know who you are. Thanks for leaving a comment on a video that you didn't really understand, but thank you very much anyway.
Good job. All right. Anything else to?
That's it for now.
Very good. So thank you so much. I'll take my glass off when I do. Thank you. Andy said to me that knows when I take my glasses off that we've got to the end, so we can find it in the edit.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, keep it yourself. And press the notification bell so that you know when there's new content. Share it on your socials, and maybe think about subscribing if you're not subscribed already. And all that leaves to say is goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from him.